The film begins with Otto Anderson purchasing rope from a hardware store. When he goes to pay, he complains to the cashier that he was overcharged a few cents for the length of his rope. Otto is known in his neighborhood for being grumpy and bitter, as well as a stickler for the rules, such as leaving the gate on his street open and people having their parking permits hanging on their rearview mirrors. Despite this, some neighbors, such as Jimmy, continue to try to reach out to Otto. Despite the fact that he considers almost everyone to be an idiot, he arrives at work on his last day to find that his co-workers have thrown him a retirement party, but he does not attend. Otto returns home to turn off the electricity in his home. Otto is about to hang himself in his kitchen when he notices the new neighbors across the street clumsily trying to back their U-Haul onto their street. Otto runs outside and meets the Mendez family, which includes husband Tommy, pregnant wife Marisol, and daughters Luna and Abby. Otto helps the family with their car in his grumpy way, then returns home to complete his deed. He is interrupted once more when Tommy and Marisol arrive and hand him a plate of food that Marisol cooked. Otto accepts it and eats it, discovering that he enjoys it, before deciding to hang himself. As he prepares to die, he sees flashes of his life, including memories of his father. But the hook holding the noose breaks off, and Otto falls to the floor. He then notices an advertisement for a discount on flower bouquets. Otto takes the flowers he purchased to the cemetery to visit his wife, Sonia's, grave. He talks about greedy real estate developers from a company called Dye and America. Otto fantasizes about himself as a young man at night. He failed the Army physical exam due to hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a genetic heart condition that Otto's father had and died from. On his way back to Pittsburgh, he noticed Sonia dropping her book on the way to her train. Otto pursued her down and found her, returning her book and sitting down with her. He had already fallen in love with her, but he realized he had boarded the wrong train. Sonia gave him some change so he could pay for the train ticket. She let him keep the change. The next day, Otto encounters an agent from Dye and America while driving down the street, as well as a neighbor he dislikes throwing rocks at a cat near his house because the cat scratched her dog. Tommy and Marisol approach Otto again, this time with Salvadoran cookies and a request to borrow his ladder. Another neighbor, Anita, asks Otto for assistance in bleeding her radiators so they can produce heat again. Otto agrees grudgingly on the condition that she return a garden hose he loaned her. Over the summer, Otto also holds a grudge against Anita's husband Ruben for a perceived coup against Otto, and Ruben suffers from a condition that has mostly rendered him a vegetable, with limited movement. Anita claims that their son Chris has suggested that he be placed in a nursing home. As Otto finishes his job and prepares to leave, Ruben grabs the garden hose and latches onto it, as if he knows what Otto intends to do with it, but Otto pulls it from his grasp. Otto sits in his car, in the garage, attempting suicide yet again through carbon monoxide poisoning. As he prepares to die, he recalls his dinner with Sonia. She noticed Otto didn't order food for himself. He admitted that he felt he had no prospects because he couldn't join the army and had no way of finding work, so he was prepared for Sonia to be done with him. But as he started to walk out, Sonia grabbed his hand and kissed him in front of the other patrons, who cheered for them. Otto then hears Marisol banging on the garage door because Tommy fell from the ladder and she needs a ride to the hospital because she doesn't have a license, which perplexes Otto, but he obliges her request. At the hospital, Otto sits with Luna and Abby to read them a story in a funny voice, as they have started calling him Abuelo Otto. Beppo, a hospital clown, approaches them and offers to entertain the girls. He requests a quarter for a trick, and Otto gives him Sonia's quarter and demands it back when he's finished. Beppo performs the trick, but Otto notices that the clown switched the quarters and begins to physically attack him, causing Beppo to cry before the hospital staff chastises Otto. Otto then drives the family home, and Marisol notices him slightly smiling. Marisol discovers the cat dead in the snow the next morning. They warm up the cat with the help of Jimmy and Otto, and Jimmy takes the cat with him because Otto doesn't want him. Otto drives to the train station, recalling how he graduated with a degree in engineering and then asks Sonia to marry him. Otto walks toward the train tracks, seemingly ready to commit there, until a nearby man passes out and falls onto the tracks. While everyone else is filming the man, Otto jumps onto the tracks to help the man back up onto the platform. He then stands on the tracks, waiting for the train, until another man pulls Otto back up. The other patrons regard Otto as a hero for saving the other man. Otto is later approached by Marisol, who hands him a drawing that Abby made for him, in which he is the only one drawn in color. Jimmy then arrives with the cat and claims to have had an allergic reaction to him, leaving Otto alone with the cat. He puts the cat in a box and takes him to Sonia's grave, where he tells her about the cat and the Mendez family. Later, Otto encounters Malcolm, a teenager who delivers papers on his bike. Otto chastises him for it, but Malcolm tells Otto that he knew Sonia as his teacher because she was the first person to recognize his transgender identity and call him by his new name, inspiring the other teachers to do the same. Otto becomes friendly with Malcolm as a result of sharing this memory. Otto then decides to teach Marisol to drive in his manual car. She is nervous and frequently stalls on the road, prompting a pickup truck driver to honk at her. Otto confronts the man, demanding that he stop honking because Marisol is learning. He soothes her and assists her in continuing to drive. They end up at a pastry shop where Otto used to go with Sonia all the time, and he buys Marisol a Swedish eclair that he and Sonia used to eat. Otto tells Marisol about how things were for him and Sonia when they first moved to the neighborhood, where they were best friends with Ruben and Anita, but Otto and Ruben had disagreements about their love for cars. Marisol later asks Otto to babysit Luna and Abby while she and Tommy go on a date. Later, Otto assists Malcolm in repairing his bike chain before he is approached by Sherry Kenzie, a social media journalist. She wants to interview Otto about his rescue of the man who fell on the train tracks, but he refuses. Marisol returns and offers to help Otto clean out his belongings, including some of Sonia's old coats, but this irritates Otto, and he angrily declines her assistance, making matters worse. The Die and America agent shows up again, telling Otto that they have a file on him and that he is aware of Otto's heart condition. Otto's heart begins to bother him, and when Marisol attempts to assist him, Otto simply returns to his house and does not respond when she knocks on his door again. Otto goes to get a rifle. He sees a Niagara Falls cap and is transported back to his worst memory with Sonia. She was about 6 months pregnant when the bus they were taking back from the falls crashed. Sonia was paralyzed, and they lost their child. Otto then hears a knock on the door and accidentally pulls the trigger, narrowly missing his face. He finds Malcolm at the door, asking if he can crash on his couch because his father has kicked him out because he does not accept his trans identity. Otto lets him stay on the couch. Malcolm prepares breakfast and assists Otto as he goes around the neighborhood. Otto and Malcolm are discovered by Jimmy, who informs Otto that Di and Marika are attempting to evict Ruben and Anita from their home after learning of Anita's Parkinson's diagnosis, which she has not disclosed to anyone else. The company also allegedly made arrangements with Chris to sell his parents' house, but Anita has stated that Chris hasn't spoken to them in years and has been living in Japan. Otto needs to make a call and asks Marisol to use her phone, but she refuses because of how he yelled at her and didn't answer the door when she knocked for a long time, making her worried. Otto apologizes for his behavior and tells Marisol the truth, that he has been attempting suicide since losing Sonia, and he also mentions how he was kicked out as the head of the homeowners association for attacking one of the board members for not allowing Sonia, who needed a ramp to go up and down her steps. Marisol lets him use her phone, and Otto knows who to call. The Die and Marika agent arrives with a few of his goons to try to evict Ruben and Anita from their home. Otto had called Sherry and her own crew to record Otto exposing the company for illegally obtaining medical files on himself and Anita, as well as lying to them about being in contact with Chris about negotiating the sale of his parents' home. The agent tries to argue that no one could care for Ruben and Anita in their current circumstances, but Jimmy steps in and says he would because they are like family to him. The agents are then forced to leave due to more negative publicity. Otto collapses from a heart condition just as everyone is feeling victorious. Marisol meets Otto at the hospital because she was listed as his next of kin. The cardiologist informs Marisol that Otto has an enlarged heart, which makes Marisol laugh at the irony of Otto having an enlarged heart. Marisol goes into labor moments later. Marco, her son, is born. During a celebration for Marco's birth, Otto gives Marisol a crib he built for what would have been his and Sonia's son, and he gives it to them as a gift for Marco. Otto then takes the family to Sonia's grave to introduce them. A few years pass. Otto gives Malcolm his car as a gift, and he writes a letter that he leaves on his nightstand. He also buys a new Chevy and takes Marisol and the girls to the pastry shop. Tommy tells Marisol one morning that he noticed Otto did not shovel the snow off his walk. When the two arrive at his home, they discover Otto dead on his bed, having succumbed to his heart condition. Tommy discovers the letter he wrote to Marisol as she sobs over his body. Otto explains in it that he didn't hurt himself and that he knew his time was coming. He made arrangements with his lawyer to leave his house and money, as well as the cat, to Marisol and her family, which would help put the kids through school and keep them afloat. But he tells Sonia not to let Tommy drive the Chevy, letting her know that she is not an idiot. The family organizes Otto's funeral, which draws a large crowd that includes Malcolm and Sherry. Jimmy and Malcolm resolve to complete Otto's rounds as he used to. Otto signed the letter, Abuelo Otto, and the final shot shows him buried next to Sonia.